artist makes an international name for himself. He is the first artist to power his concert with 100% renewable energy.
It is a real honor to recognize Mr. A.Y. Young, the founder of Battery Tour.
It's incredible. Can't wait for you to see this. The United Nations is now throwing its support behind him.
Mr. Young has made a big impact in his young life, born in 1991. He's a singer-songwriter, a dancer, producer, entrepreneur, and sustainability advocate. He's staged and performed more than 800 concerts. He was named by the United Nations recently as one of 17 youth world leaders of the world.
Yo, what's up? My name's A.Y. Young, founder of the Battery Tour and one of the 17 United Nations Young Leaders for the SDGs. I'm also the first artist to fully power all of my concerts using just renewable energy. Yeah, I'm from the US. And guys, my role as this United Nations Young Leader is truly to just bring the youth together. I'm here to bring the world together so we can take collective action and change the world together. Now, see, scouting, that helped me discover my passion. Scouting is so beautiful because you learn so many skills and you get to try so many things and you can find your passion. See, my Eagle project, actually, because I'm an Eagle Scout, was what helped inspire the Battery Tour. This idea that I could take my passion, I could use music and performance to bring the community together, the community around me, and make a change together. And if it wasn't for being a scout, learning all these skills, and then, doing the Eagle Project, that wouldn't have happened. See, I believe everyone is an outlet for change. For me, an outlet is a person, an individual, a scout, an influencer who takes their passion to take an action and to make the world a better place. We're all outlets for change. We're all scouts. Let's go out there and get the world plugged in.
Hey, we're live. Everybody, welcome to a very special Trek at 2. You know me, you guys know Shanice, and you are about to, or maybe you already know A.Y. Young. Thanks for joining the show, A.Y.
I'm like tweeting and like, oh, I'm so hyped. Let's go.
Yes. So guys, if you didn't catch from the video big deal. A.Y. is a producer, a singer, a songwriter, an entertainer, an entrepreneur, much more. And last but definitely not least, he's an Eagle Scout. He's the founder of a project called the Battery Tour, during which he powers his concerts with renewable energy. So cool. He's recently named a United Nations Youth Leader for Sustainable Development Goals, and he performed at President Biden's inauguration. Wow. A.Y. is also currently working on an album labeled Project 17. We're going to hear about that a little bit more in a few minutes. And he works with some of the world's biggest artists. A.Y., it's really, really an honor to have you on the show. I know our viewers are super pumped to ask you questions throughout today, and so are Shanice and I.
Yo, I'm just happy to be here. It's a lifelong dream, man, to be like, I've always dreamed of like, oh my God, as a Cub Scout, as a Weeblo, like as a Tenderfoot, all that. I was always like, oh, I'm going to be on the cover of Boys Life magazine. And the Scouts are going to talk about, and now it's like happening. This is awesome.
It's funny because we feel just honored to get to, feature you on Scout Life. I mean, it's really exciting. Also got to say, I'm about to turn it over to Shanice to ask you our first question. But Shanice, you guys have seen her on some of our Trek at 2s in the past. You definitely read her work when you read Heads Up in Scout Life magazine. She's an editor for Scout Life, and we're really excited because she's actually already interviewed A.Y. So we get to have a little more experience and a nuanced view of what we're talking about today.
Yes, it's going to be very exciting. So let's dive right in. You guys ready? All right. So A.Y., one of your passions is spreading the word about the importance of renewable energy. So we often have young viewers watching this show. So can we just start with the basics? What is renewable energy and why is it so important to you?
Yeah, dope. Yeah, like renewable energy is like, it's like natural energy, right? Like it also doesn't have like a negative effect or like hurt the environment to produce it or to use it. So like one of the forms of renewable energy that I use is energy from the sun. Like I literally take and store solar energy, from the sun, like, literally with this device that I made, right? Called the outlet, which is like also like kind of like what supporters of the battery tour call, like, I believe everyone in the world is this outlet for change, right? And we can all take an action and make the world a better place. But anyway, I store energy from the sun into actual batteries, right? And so, and I use, that energy to power a concert, charge my cell phone. So that's renewable energy, and that's how I use it. And it's important to me only for a few things. One, renewable energy, enabled me to do what I love to do. Like I think like change is led by passion, right? So, and my passion is music, and I use my passion to make an impact. And so I needed to have a way to do my passion, to power that, which is renewable energy, which is solar energy, which is storing energy to do a concert and to bring the world together. So it's important to me because, it enables me to do what I love and to make change.
You embody a really just a solid role model for Scouts, I think, because you're cool. Like, you do something very cool.
Never cool.
but you're also doing something like very like ethics focused. It's you've combined probably like a passion for music with doing something good for the world. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's like what we hope for all Scouts, follow your passion and find a way to help it, create change for the better. Now, I know this sounds so impressive, and I've got to ask you exactly what it means. So you've been named one of the 17 United Nations youth leaders selected to help spread the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. What does all of that mean, and what do you have to do involved with that?
Yeah, Scouts for SDGs. Like some of you Scouts might have seen like the hashtag Scouts for SDGs. But what the that's a great picture. Woo! What the SDGs are is there are these 17 things, that the United Nations and all the countries, it was actually 186 countries, which is a lot of countries, right? I didn't know that was that many. And then, like over 18,000 nominations, and they picked me. But those are the 17 things that the UN's like, hey, we got to get this done by 2030. And like you guys have probably heard about climate action or climate change, right? That's like goal 13, climate action. That's just one of the many things. Like one of them's like no poverty. Like we need to make sure everyone has money, right? No hunger, right? Everyone needs to have access to food. Like there's like a goal named like water. Everyone needs to have clean water, right? Access to water to drink, to eat, right? Because there's little do you guys may know, whoever's listening, there's actually like 1 billion people that don't have energy and millions of people that starve every day, right? So the UN's like, hey, we got to do these things by 2030. So they picked 17 leaders of the world, right? And I'm the only like young, person and leader they picked from the US. So, I think the idea was like, okay, AY is gonna, be the voice of the youth for the entire United States of America. And I know, I'm like, oh, that's not possible. I know what I've realized as being a young leader is it's not possible to be the voice of all of you guys. But what I decided to do with this Project 17 that we're talking about is I decided, you know what? I'm going to empower all of you guys to have your voice heard and seen. And so that's what this Project 17 is for me that we'll talk about more. My job is to empower all of your voices, all your passions, so we can all be what I call an outlet, right? An outlet like the logo, an outlet for change, and we can plug into each other both at the local community, at the national level, as a world, and we can make real change happen together as Scouts.
I must say, I'm loving your energy right now, AY. But speaking of outlets, now tell us about the battery tour. You literally perform concerts with 100% renewable energy. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, it's so crazy because like I built this like way later. And I think like the thing to tell you guys is like the story. You're like, like how did this happen? Like, I didn't start out just being who I am today. It was steps. And so, I got off this TV show called The X Factor, right? I got 4 yeses from the celebrity judges. It was like Demi Lovato and L.A. Reid and Britney Spears. It was so crazy. I learned a lot, and I got off the show, and I was trying to like open up for like Justin Bieber, who was like coming to my hometown, or this guy. And like I would get hit with like, well, how many followers do you have? And by the way, guys, it does not matter how many followers you have. You can change the world with 5 or 500. I just did the freaking inauguration for the president. I was with Billie Eilish and all these people, and I do not have 1 million followers, okay? First lesson. Second lesson, okay? So then I'm trying to open up for other artists, right? And they're like, well, how many tickets has your last tour sold out? And I hadn't sold out any tickets. I didn't have 1 million followers. So I obsessed over like energy. I was just like, dude, how do I power a concert anywhere, right? That's when I figured out, I could store renewable energy in batteries, right? And that's what I started doing. Yeah, I started doing these 8 to 10 hour shows because I would look at like Taco Bell and like Wendy's. And by the way, anyone listening, y'all know if you work at Taco Bell or Wendy's, you gotta work a 4-hour shift. You can't just be like, yeah, here's 30 minutes and I'm out, or here's an hour of my time. See you later, Taco Bell. They'll fire you so quick. So I started doing 8-hour shows because I was like, that's full time, right? And it just progressed. Like people would donate, like, yo, man, here's $10. We love your music. When you're out, because there was a time I was performing and I saw a bunch of batteries and I'm like, I'm AY and this is the battery tour, right? And that's how the name came. And then people would donate and they're like, here's $10. Here, we're your outlets. We power the tour. And I was like, oh! And that's when I learned that everyone, in the world is an outlet for change. So to fast forward, to answer your question, it took me too long, right? I started taking that donation money and going from city to city and state to state. That's when I built the box that you see, the outlet. I learned in traveling that over 1 billion people in the world don't have energy. They lack access. They don't have energy. They don't have internet. Right? Even some people carrying water on their head, walking for 5 miles to their village, they don't even have access to water. So I was like, okay, if everyone's an outlet for change, everyone's an outlet, and there's 1 billion people that don't have power, I need to build something to get them plugged in, right? So instead of just getting the world plugged into my music, I was like, let me build this and use each concert to take an action, right? Every day I can do a concert, 8 to 10 hours, it doesn't matter how long, and I can send one person, one village access energy. Boom, that's what got me here. Welcome to the Battery Tour.
Yeah, your passion is contagious. Our audience is giving you lots of shout outs. We have a lot of viewers. We've got greetings from Nicaragua, so we're international right now. You're not a stranger to being international though, AY, we know. Avery, hello. Letitia's giving you a lot of shout outs in the comments. One of our viewers, Xavier from Pack 817 is watching. Thanks for tuning in, Xavier. Thanks for watching, Julia. New York City Cub Scout Pack 422 says you're a great inspiration for their youth. Totally got to agree on that. And I like that you touch on, I don't know if you were even trying to get into this, but when you're saying when you first got your start, a lot of times people will be like, well, how many followers do you have? And, I get where that comes from. We're looking for like a built-in audience when you put your money into an artist. But at the same time, I think, our younger viewers can get caught up in feeling like their worth is tied to their social media following. And it definitely isn't.
Or people actually think, and the world's made us think this, that in order to make it change, you have to have a bunch of followers or some elaborate plan. And that's what being an outlet's all about. Is it's taking a small step. Like as an individual, you don't have to be Nike or Coca-Cola. You don't have to have $10 million. Everyone's an outlet for change, and you can take an action to make the world a better place.
You are the perfect reminder of that. Thank you for reminding us of that, because we get, especially in the pandemic, we've been stuck at home. We're thinking like, oh, well, what can we do? I'm just a small guy. But no, you can really make a change, and you're proof of that. You did pique my interest, though. I've got to ask this. I know that there are others who are curious. You've collaborated with some very interesting musical artists, really famous people. Can you tell us about them? Right? Any highlights you want to share about folks you've worked with?
I mean, so in travel in America and doing these hundreds of shows, I've been blessed. Like I was able to open up for T-Pain. I did a 3-city tour with Shaggy, which was crazy. Aaron Carter, Shoot, man, Wycliffe Johns, the homie, opened for him. Wiz Khalifa. You know, I've had a lot of cool things. So many, even with Project 17, by the way, I just launched this thing called Project 17. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing one song for each of those sustainable development goals, right? And each song's in collaboration with one or more of Earth's biggest artists. And I got to say, it's nuts. Like some of the names and people that I'm meeting and collaborating with, it's a dream. The biggest artist in the world. And so, Tech Nine recently, because I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, and he's the #1 independent artist in the world. That's fun, right? The head and the heart. I can't wait to meet Billy and Coldplay here in the next couple of weeks at the Global Citizen event. I mean, I love Coldplay. I love what they do. I'm a huge fan of Bono and a huge fan of Paul McCartney. Stevie Wonder is a goodwill or a messenger of peace, and I can't wait to meet him and hopefully include him on this idea I made for him and Drake to be on. So I don't know, man. My dreams are just not coming true. I'm not gonna say, oh, I have a favorite. I'm gonna say that I'm enjoying bringing everyone together, whether it's a corporation, it's a Boy Scout, it's a kid in 6th grade or 7th grade or K through 12. It's a normal person, individual, a farmer, or it's a huge artist or influencer. And that's what I'm doing right now and having fun with seeing all these different people come together,
And you mentioned Boy Scouts, so it's important to remind everybody that you are an Eagle Scout. Woohoo! Can you tell us about your time in scouting? What was your favorite moment, your favorite merit badge? Can you tell us a little bit about your Eagle Scout project as well?
I'm so nerdy. Let's see. God, guys, I have so many favorite moments. I love camp, Bartle. I was into Bartle. Getting my life-saving merit badge was such a huge deal because you had to do the whole thing where you stay afloat for a really long time and you're heckin' tired. You know what I'm saying? I used to get hazed a lot by the older scouts, but I look back and say, hey, they were all brothers and they still loved me. I don't know. Freaking CPR training was hard. Dude, wood carving merit badge was fun. Guys, all the merit badges were so cool. Eagle Project, though, is really cool. That's what actually inspired the Battery Tour. Back in Kansas City, I was trying to figure out how to bring the city together. And, wanted to, that was back when, right around the X Factor time, I was trying to figure out how to power a concert. And I mean, if it wasn't for being an Eagle Scout, and, my parents, my mom and dad, forcing me to finish, I was at that cusp where I was getting too cool for scouts. I don't know. I was just so busy. And, but it pushed me to do the research that I needed to on energy and figure out the outlet and how to power the Battery Tour and bring the community together. I made some signage for the neighborhood, Ivanhoe neighborhood community, as well as did an event, a Battery Tour event. So, I mean, if it wasn't for scouting, I don't know if there would be a Battery Tour now that I look back on it. I'm not sure. So I owe a lot to scouts.
Well, you're definitely giving it back. You're paying us back by just being on here. So thank you. And
yes.
It's quite the inspiration. It's a good seed to plant for anybody who's hoping to go for Eagle and they're trying to think what projects should they pursue. Look to your passion. Now, in a lot of your stories, AY, it sounds like music's already factor into most of the stories that we've heard. When did what is your background with music? How did you get into music? Do you have any formal training?
No, and that's the crazy thing. When people hear this, man, well, I have this dream or goal, or I love this. Sometimes it just happens. I do believe in this. I believe in something called 10,000 hours. If you're listening, you're like, oh shoot, what's that? I believe in trying to master what you love. Once you figure it out, or your passion, and spending 10,000 hours on it. So I do believe in that. But to take you back. I used to just write. I actually didn't know what rap was or hip hop music. I don't actually consider myself that, actually, by the way. If you're listening to the artists I'm bringing together, from Lady Gaga to whoever, right? Those are different genres, so it's not just rap, Paul McCartney. But I'll say this. I used to write about what I saw. And in my city, you could drive 3 blocks from where I lived, which had crack houses and was terrible place, right? You could drive 5 blocks and there's like this nice shopping area and it's beautiful. It's not the hood anymore. And I used to write about that. And there was a moment where my brother AJ was playing the guitar, and what I wrote went to the guitar, and I guess it was called rap. I have no idea because my mom didn't really let me listen to secular music. Okay, I was like homeschooled and in the church, and so yeah, that's how I started music. Never had training. It's all about what I felt, and I loved it. And I just remember knowing that that was a good way to reach people and to maybe change minds and change the world. But I think the best thing to say to anyone listening, is that once you find your passion, and the 17 goals are like a really good framework to like look at that and be like, what do I care about? And that's what I'm asking Tech9. That's what I'm asking Billie Eilish. That's what we're asking, the YouTuber, the TikToker with 50 million followers, or even the company like Coca-Cola or McDonald's or whatever, right? Is, hey, what do you care about? And they're able to look at the goals and say, I care about land, and then you can hone in on, okay, how can I take my passion and what I love to do and what I care about, and how can I put that together and make an impact, right? And I hope I can be a bridge to helping people figure that out.
That is awesome. I mentioned your energy early on in this interview. You have so much energy. You're a very great performer, lots of dancing. Where does this energy come from?
Yo, I don't freaking know, dude. This is me. I mean, how else could you do 8 hours of performing? This is insane. Now you probably believe me. You're probably first like, yeah, who does 8 hours? But now you're like, probably does 10 hours. Yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, I just believe in what I'm doing. I always believe, like, there is this moment when people, and I'm going to ask everyone who's listening to do this, to see if we got outlets listening, right? This is really hard to do. I'm going to try to show it. That's an outlet, right? And I started having these moments when like people all over the world would like send a picture or like a selfie, of an outlet, and they'd be like, hey, I'm plugged in. They were at their school, their church, their gym. So I'm going to challenge anyone listening, take a picture of an outlet, tag, what should it be, Scout Life, or what should we have them tag on the Boy Scout in? But make sure you hashtag Battery Tour, right? Or put @Battery Tour, tag AY. And, I'll follow anyone who does that. I'll get plugged in. But, that's when I noticed, to answer your question, I realized, wow, we're already in every home in America, every gym, right? There's an outlet everywhere. And when I discovered that, I was like, oh, shoot, yeah. And on the marketing side, the best marketing is marketing you don't pay for, right? But I was like, dude, we're everywhere. And we just need to get the world, the rest of the world that's not plugged in, because we're grassroots, to recognize that we're all outlets. We're all, outlets for change. And we're all connected to each other. And so that thinking has kept me going like, wow, one day the world is all going to plug in. And that's where the Project 17 even stemmed from, right?
Yeah, so viewers, if you're out there looking for a way to take some action, take a picture of an outlet, use hashtag Battery Tour, make sure you get Battery Tour in there. We'll look for that hashtag afterwards too and share some of those photos. So I love that idea. I also like, you mentioned, the 17 projects, maybe for somebody who's looking for an Eagle Scout project or just a service project in general, look at those 17 projects. Like, it seems like that would inspire some ideas, like to fall within each of those topics. And now I've got to go back to scouting for a second. Do you have any advice for current scouts? Like any advice? You say that thing of like, I got too cool for scouts, which I think is a general sentiment. Like, we say cool, but it's like you grow past the program. It's not made for you to be in it for your entire life. But do you have any advice for scouts about sticking through the program, going for Eagle Scout? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I'll make an argument. You look at me, I wear my scouting uniform all the time. I make an argument, it could be built for life, because, I got into the tribe of Make It Say, didn't advance too far, didn't get too much paint, but, there's opportunities, because really, to me, scouting is like life. Because, yeah, you'll get older and you get wiser, but then you're supposed to utilize that to help others, right, younger than you, the next generation. And so like scouting to me is like a great overview of like how to be as a human, You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, and yes, there's that state when you're like 16, 17, all of a sudden you're so cool, or people, some people joked about scouts and it made me feel, oh no, I'm not cool, I need to be cool. You want to be cool or whatever. But that, I got a little bit past that stage and I realized, what's cool is having Eagle Scout, like a merit badge, because no one has it, right? Like 2%, right? What's cool is having all these skills, so when the lights go out, I can keep a fire going. Like, and actually that's valued more from women and things like that, if that's when you want to impress young men. You know what I'm saying? Can you make her a fire in a camp out date? Like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? But like, I think your question was like, what was it, like sticking with scouts or something like that? Can you ask that again? I'm like going off. Was that your question? Like, what can I say to scouts to stick with it or something?
That's exactly it. You answered why stick with it. And you kind of answered it more broadly, like stick with it as an adult. There's something to bring your skills into every situation. Yeah,
there we just answered it. And plug back in if you've been out of it for a while. Like I haven't been to scout camp in a while. I'm so happy that not only can this be a part of my purpose and what I'm doing, but to go back to scouting and serve for a week. Serving people is a huge thing that we should do as humans. We feel better when we give back to our community. Scouting was just like, if you look at what they're trying to do, they're trying to get you plugged into the community, making an impact, learning some skills. Like, yo, it's actually dope. And anybody that says it's not dope is whack. That's the word I use. Sorry to offend you, but hey, if you don't think scouting is dope, you know what I'm saying? You missing out. And I can't wait to like, now that, I'm like the influencer for World Scouting now, whatever, like, I really just want to plug in with you guys and just really just bring scouting like this. So yeah, man, stick with it because I mean, it's life. It's not like you're gonna avoid life here. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. And Shanice, I know you've got a question, but I wanted to read Marlene's comment. She says, thumbs up, so proud of your zeal and accomplishments. Continue to soar like the eagle you are. And so we've got to get a shout out to her pack. It's pack 333 and troop 333 in Queens, New York.
That's awesome.
Traveling all over the world, I know it can be very, very hard, especially being away from your family and your friends. How do you manage it all? Like, how do you keep going?
Yeah, right. Manage it all. Guys, we can get into so much right now. Like there's a story I used to tell people. Because it's funny, it's easy to look at me now or find me now. Everyone's discovering this. They're just like, it seems so cool. But it's like, you have to understand that there are times I would buy, like Chipotle, they had the bowl. The bowl and everything. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I would cut them up into 3 slices. And each one would last a day. Right? Like, it was that crazy. Like, I mean, not just sleeping in your car, living in it, having to do 8-hour shows, in shopping areas and centers that people don't, they're here to shop at the Gap store. They walk by and they might catch a song. They might catch that you're powered by renewable energy, but probably not because you're just a street performer. I mean, you have no idea the struggle that I went through. And it's interesting when you look at Kobe Bryant, when you look at, who's an idol for me, passed, but look at how he worked. Look at how Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan or, LeBron James or some of these even sports icons, when you look at the amount of time they put into their craft, the amount of years it takes for success, sometimes it doesn't leave space for a girlfriend every other week or every couple of months or the parties on Friday and Saturday. And what I like to tell people, whoever's listening, students, kids, if you want to be successful, like just start being aware of your time. Like, I used to love video games. I used to play like 6 hours a day, but I realized there's no way I can be a great basketball player because I played Division I basketball. There's no way I can be a great basketball player and spend 6 hours a day on video games. So you have to start making decisions so you can move your life, your passion, your career forward. I think there's too many people out here who don't put the time or work in, but then expect results, right? Like, come on. I did almost 900 concerts now, and I still don't have 100,000 followers. But you know what I can do, and this is why followers don't even matter, is that I can call some of the biggest people in the world, right? And that's beautiful because I made real life connections, and because I built something with a strong foundation that won't get blown over by the wind. So it takes a while to build something, and scouts are all about building. And so hopefully you guys understand the concept of every day I can take a step, I can be an outlet, I can take an action, I can build toward my future, my life, right? My goals. That's how you do it, man. There's no
Do you
other
have
way.
I'm sorry, Gina. Do you have like a quote or something that you kind of repeat to yourself, or whenever you're feeling like, oh, I want to give up, just like keep you
Yeah, you know
going?
what I do actually? If this works, shoot, guys, it's gonna look weird. You see all this stuff on the wall, and like,
Yeah.
that's what that's what there's my Eagle Scout thing down here. You see that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, like this is all the artwork. Like my place is crazy. This is from classrooms around the country because kids in school right now. I know, right? Like right now we are rolling out Battery Tour Project 17 in schools like K through 12. This is really crazy. I hope this just works. And like it's so cool to see kids, like I'm a little plug or I'm an outlet, or like some kid had this one project where he because what's happening is kids are looking at my story and they're like figuring out, okay, he's a dude who took his passion, looked at the goals, and then took an action. And so they're taking their passion and doing an action. And this kid like made a Rubik's Cube that could work for like if you were like visually impaired or something, it had Braille on it or whatever, where you could like do a Rubik's Cube, and it's just all part of Project 17. That's what keeps me going. Or when people send pictures of outlets, because when I'm down at my lowest, where I'm like, dude, no one's watching. No one gives a crap. I'm not on freaking Ellen yet. Like, I've done 900 shows and like, I'm still not like this, it sucks. Like I literally had some corporation recently, even though everyone's calling, a lot of people are calling. One of them was like, I'm not going to name the corporation. It's a really big one. And there's a lot of big ones coming on board. But this one was like, somebody in the meeting room goes, well, how is this even going to be possible? He doesn't have a lot of followers. I was like, what? I literally already have Tech Nine on the album, number one independent artist in the world, The Head and the Heart, working with Billie Eilish, Shawn Mendes, and you're telling me that, but if I got caught up in that, I'd lose my mind. But you know what? I look at my phone, I'm going, wow, there's another outlet, somebody in some distant country, saying, hey, I'm plugged in. You know what I'm saying? That's what keeps me going.
I think you're gonna have the last laugh on that. One day it's gonna be like, we should have grabbed him before he had all of these followers. We should have snagged, but don't forget us then. Please come back on our show. But
I know, right?
Then, we would love to have you.
Let's do
honestly
too.
It's
my dream to be on the magazine, dude. I don't even know if you guys do the magazine, but if there's a front cover, that's my dream.
We know some people. We'll let them know. Yeah, we know the people who picked that. So we're honestly, we could have you on again. This time flew by. We have to let you go here in a second. We've got to give some quick shout outs. You guys need to listen to AY's music. If you haven't, we'll put a URL up on the bottom of the screen right now. Head there. It's AY Music. And you can hear that on his website. You're going to stay tuned. If you'll stay tuned to the end of today's show, you'll hear a little bit of one of his songs. Also got to say, just a quick reminder, Father's Day is this weekend. If you're looking for some goods for dad, head to scoutshop.org. Do not forget about dad. And also, if you want to learn more about the Battery Tour, we're putting a URL up on the screen right now. Check it out. AY's not going anywhere. You're going to see a lot more of him. AY, have we missed anything? Anything else you want to say before we roll into the final video?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I always forget to talk about music. It's weird because that's my thing. But I always, get plugged into music. I made the song called Save the Planet that hopefully we'll show here today. And yeah, get plugged in, right? I mean, that's really all.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Shanice. Thank you, AY. This was awesome. Let's do it again soon.
Definitely. Oh, so I hope you guys enjoyed my story. That's what sparked, Project 17, this journey on getting the world plugged in and access to energy, which is goal 7. Now, guys, Project 17 is simple. We are going to achieve the SDGs in 3 phases. I'm doing the world's first sustainable album, 1 song for each of the 17 sustainable development goals, and each record is going to be in collaboration with 1 or more of Earth's biggest artists. Now, phase 2 of Project 17, I'm going to do a tour in the US because I'm the young leader from the US. 17 dates, right? We're going to bring the music to the people. And the third step is releasing a guidebook and a roadmap through the United Nations to all the artists in the world to say, hey, this is how you tour sustainably. Here are the stakeholders, the impact influencers and impact partners involved, the people that created the change with Project 17. So we're getting the world plugged in right now, and you should be an outlet for change and plug in as well.
Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at us like we from another planet. Woo! Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at us like we from another planet. Woo! Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at us like we from another planet. Ooh. Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at us like we from another planet. They acting like we from another planet, Mars. They say climate change ain't a thing. What you talking about? What you know about that? What your carbon offset? Facts. We just wanna act. We ain't sitting back. Solar power. When it's solar power, everybody need the energy. Let's store it up and power the world. Recycle. We need more recycle, but you're acting like some followers on Instagram and Twitter, yeah? So tick tock, don't let the ball drop. The clock starts now, plug in, baby. Planet. So tick tock, don't let the ball drop. The clock starts now, plug in. We gon' say the planet. So tick tock, don't let the ball drop. The clock starts now, plug in. We gon' say the planet. So tick tock, don't let the ball drop. The clock starts now. Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Woo! Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Ooh. Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Ooh. Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Ooh. Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. Ooh. Say the planet, we gon' say the planet. Everybody looking at me like I'm from another planet. The ocean is alive. Keep the plastic out. The ocean is alive. So keep the plastic out. The ocean is alive. Keep the plastic out. The ocean is alive. So keep the plastic out. Yeah. Let's save the planet.